Oh no!
No!
Are we the live? Is that a thing that is happening at this present time?
Was it the surprise live?
Surprise live?
Surprise live.
I don't know.
You didn't know you were live, but
I
you are.
believe in this context you say, surprise, motherfucker.
Oh no! We have indeed gone the live! What are we to
What? Crazy.
do?
Not possible.
And we're even like on time. What the
You
heck?
kept the fucking picture.
Of course I did, filthy human.
Oh my
The show
god.
is still officially RWB talk. Yang is dead, if you hadn't noticed. Out of sight, out of mind.
Oh my god. Alright. Well, now we wait for people to file in.
Never. I'll never wait.
Well, you're gonna have to.
No!
Sorry. It's just
You
the way
guys,
of
stop
the
making me
universe.
wait. Get in here. You can hear me.
But if they could hear you, then wouldn't they already be in?
No.
Okay.
Dumb.
I'm sorry, DS101 Studios. Yang is fucking dead.
Yup, everyone
Nothing
is
you
dead.
can do to change my mind. I'm sorry.
Everyone is dead. The show is over.
The name of the show is now Winter, Ren, Nora, Oscar. So, whoa, no.
Exactly as Monty planned. Beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
All
This was
according
the
to
progression
K-pop.
all along.
Yes. It's now called Ron.
No. No. I'm sorry. Just no.
It's the Harry Potter
I
sequel
love the
we've all been waiting
idea of
for.
a team named Ron.
It's my favorite color is Ron.
Is that like kind of
Honestly-
an off red? I don't.
Honestly, I would prefer Neuron. N-R-O.
Or if we add a G, it could be Team Wrong.
Or Neuro. N-R-O-W.
Oh my god.
I mean, clearly the next season is going to focus on Team Coffee anyways, so, I mean, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Nah, Team Ron all the way.
Well, yeah, we'll just sit here for a second and let people continue to file in. How are you guys doing? You doing good?
I know it's a little off
Yeah.
today, but we had to make sure Katie was here.
Aw,
Yeah, it's
guys.
true. It's true. We were like normally we would have done it done it yesterday words, but yeah, we were like no, we think Katie's got to be here for this.
Yay!
So we decided to
Now
put it
I
until
am. And
today.
I'm so excited to have different opinions about the ending than the boys.
You do know that on
I'm so
occasion some
excited
of us
to be
agree with you,
controversial.
right?
You what?
You do know that on occasion some of us do agree with you, right?
Hey, we're not talking about occasions. We're talking about today, and I think they're gonna have different opinions.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go.
I have thoughts. I have some thoughts.
I have big thumbs, some of which leaked into the pre-show for this.
I'm just gonna be the straight up protagonist secret villain. Like I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna be Tsundere just for the sake of it and say how I really feel.
Today you're just gonna be you're just gonna be the one Tsundere from the Fruit of Grisaya that just
Yes.
has to be contrarian about every last thing.
Absolutely. I mean, no, I won't. Nuh-uh.
I've met people like that.
Hey, he's got a
Oh.
good team name there with Ali K, with Reno, Ren, Emerald, Nora, and Oscar.
Ooh.
Oh, that's right. Emerald is there. I forgot Emerald.
Yeah,
is
that's
there.
true.
Yeah, she's good at
totally
that.
a good guy now.
It's almost like she blends into the background. Oh, wait!
Dude, I want to see what's going on with team, what is it? Tyrion and Jupiter? Whatever his name is.
Neptune.
It's
Neptune.
Mercury!
Neptune.
The other Roman god?
Tyrion and Mercury!
Excuse me.
I couldn't
Tyrion
remember
and
which
Pluto?
planet So I just threw out a random planet because I thought it'd be funny.
God.
I like
Saturn.
You
Excuse
don't
you,
even have
it's,
screen time, Yuri Lowenthal.
excuse you, it's Tyrion and Pluto, all right? Get it
Yeah,
right.
you're right.
To
You're right.
Pluto.
Can you
right.
imagine carrying a baby in your stomach for 9
Because
months?
the
and
truth
naming
is,
it
he's not
Pluto?
important enough to be a real planet.
But Yuri Lowenthal is so good, though. He deserves
He was
better
pretty good.
roles.
He
Pretty
That
good.
he deserves more screen time. He really deserves more
You
screen time.
do though.
Just
He actually
like
got
Pluto.
he got the main character role for the new Dota anime that Netflix just put out.
Oh hell
Oh
yeah!
shit.
Yeah, I was like, my boy
Dota
Yuri
anime?
Lowenthal.
Hell yes.
Well, my peeps, I think it's time that we launch into this here
What?
podcast.
Nah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know
Fuck it,
that
why
comes
not?
as I know that comes as a shock, but you know, I think we got to do it.
Must we let it end?
Yeah, I think so.
Like all
So-
Hey,
good
it has to go out with the. I won't say it. I can't say it. No.
No, don't. I don't even necessarily count this as one.
So, yeah, I guess obligatory warning at the beginning. So, hey chat, listen up. Did you know that this episode that we're going to be talking about is only available to Rooster Teeth First members?
What?
Are you a Rooster Teeth First member? You're not. You haven't seen the episode yet? What are you doing here? We're gonna spoil the shit out of it. So if you
We
haven't
probably already
seen
have.
it yet and you care about spoilers, heckin' spoilers, my boys.
Also, it's the fucking finale. If you haven't
Yeah,
seen
also-
that episode, like,
And girls.
Also, if you haven't seen any of
And
RWBY
non-binary
Volume
people.
8, we're gonna talk about all of Volume 8.
Uh-huh.
yeah, so,
So,
respectfully, fuck off, watch the entire season, then come back. We love you.
exactly. All right. With that out of the way, let's get into RWBY Volume 8, Chapter 14,
Wait,
The Final Word.
are we gonna introduce ourselves, Brian?
No! Why would we do that, Katie?
They should
Why would
know
we
us by
ever...
now,
never
Katie.
You know what,
start by doing
you know what,
Oh
Katie?
my god.
Just because you gotta be like that, I guess we'll introduce ourselves. How does that sound?
Oh,
All right.
Dang, Brian, so aggressive because you forgot to do your job. Damn.
Oh.
All right.
Look, man,
Hey,
she's
what's up,
challenging your
everybody?
authority.
My name is Brian. I am the head of the audio department here at RWBY Productions, and I voice Neptune in RWBY Aburged. And with me today, I have...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ian. I am one of the 2 administrators for the RWBY Productions public Discord server. I go by the name of Ventress, and if you're having any issues at all, please do not hesitate to contact me, and I'll see what I can do to help. Followed by...
The other person on this podcast who doesn't usually say his name because that's not a thing that I do. But I'm here to talk about RWBY.
His name is Forrest.
And
It's Forrest.
yeah. But then our final member.
Hello, everybody. My name is Katie, aka the girl that ships White Knight and is very happy. And
Disgusting.
because I got some ship moments, and by ship moments I mean the characters that I shipped vaguely interacted, therefore they are together. So what's up,
That's how it
everybody?
works.
I'm officially in the RWBY fandom for real, because now I'm shipping hardcore. Like my shipping has ascended time. But yeah, you can follow me on Kaniday Official, Kaniday Official on Twitter, where I post about shipping, art, voice acting, which is what I do. By the way, I'm a voice actor. I do voice things. Here at RWBY, I've been a lot of things over the years. I've been a writer, I've been an actor, I've been a producer, I've been a director, I've been a host. I've done a lot of cool shit here, and I love this place and this community, and I love you guys for showing up each week to let us rant about stuff. And I'm excited to rant about my thoughts because I fucking loved this volume, and I'm just pumped to be here, man. But yeah, dude, if you want to hear me rant about other shit, like how I ship White Knight, you should follow me on Twitter. And that's the end of that.
Well, hell yeah. I guess we should just get right Somebody in the chat, White Knight in 2021.
That's right, ho! I'm totally
Look.
in love with John. John is my husband. There you go. I can make it so because I'm wise.
Look, if Katie can still
Now-
ship White Knight, I can still ship Black Rose. Or
You
not
can.
not Black Rose. Black Sun.
Black Rose.
Black Rose.
Also that one.
Not what I actually ship.
Black Sun.
Black Sun, even though it will never happen.
I'll totally battle you there because I think my ship has more water under it.
I don't think so. But that's a story for another time.
We'll see. All right. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about RWBY Volume 8, Chapter 14, The Final Word, aka the RWBY Volume 8 finale. So, our episode opens, and Killy Willy is still disintegrating. He's like having a bad time today, man.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever he ate, man, it must have disagreed with him.
Yeah, big time.
Should have had some Tums.
Mm-hmm. And Salem appears to be regenerating, like within his bowels. So
or perhaps using his bowels.
That's a whole thing. It's gonna be interesting moderating this episode because this episode jumps around a lot.
Oh yeah.
It goes everywhere.
So so that's where it opens, but then it moves over to a little bit of Winter versus Ironwood. And they're doing some cool fighty stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Ironwood's like, I've sacrificed everything, and everybody's so ungrateful and mean to me.
Why is Southern? He's not-
Fuck.
Look, doesn't Ironwood sound like a southern name? Come on.
It's
Not
true.
really.
I could totally see Ironwood wearing like a cowboy hat and one of those super expensive belts. Like those big
Yeah,
belts.
see?
Yeah, it goes
Nope.
along with his daddy Ironwood image.
Yeah,
No,
don't pretend you
definitely.
don't see it.
He'd own one of those like rich country clubs, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And Winter is like, no, you haven't sacrificed jack shit, bitch. You've
Except for the
sacrificed
lives of
everything
innocent people."
else.
Yup.
Yeah, he hasn't. He has sacrificed things, but he has not sacrificed anything of his own. He sacrificed other people's things and lives, and
Yup.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit different, you know.
Shit.
So yeah, that's a whole thing, and then we get a little bit of like Cinder versus Penny.
Mm-hmm.
Or flying
And-
around,
Mm-hmm.
more lasers.
Doing that maiden fighting. And Jean and Nora start trying to evacuate everyone, but Penny is like, yo, I think I know what Cinder wants, bro. I think she wants me. And Cinder's like, bitch, you think I want you? I want everything.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, remember that-
agreed.
Remember that lesson she learned from White or from Watts about like, oh, you know, maybe you wanting everything. Maybe, you know, you actually have to deserve things. Maybe you got to work for your, you know, your power. You don't just like, you know, it's not owed to you or something. Yeah, she's thrown that out the window.
Little
A
A
little
little
bit.
bit.
I mean, saying that she wants everything, I don't necessarily take that as something that craps on the you have to be worthy thing. Wanting everything is not necessarily like the thing. It's like complaining about it. Wanting it is another thing, at least in my opinion. Like, okay, you can want everything, but you're not complaining about not having it at the moment, which is what she was doing when Watts was confronted. It's like she was complaining, like, why does everything go wrong? Why am I not getting the power that I deserve? Why me? Why me? Why am I not getting what I want? Saying that she wants everything, though, is not saying why me. It's saying I will take everything that I want. Sort of, not necessarily taking the entirety of Watts' point, but saying that instead of just waiting for it to be given to her or complaining about it, she is just going to take it. Or at least how that I interpreted that. Because she's not complaining about it. She's saying, I want everything.
she's willing to sacrifice everything to get it.
As
Yeah,
is readily apparent.
Which I mean is, which it falls in line with what we learned about Cinder, back in Volume 3. Right, when we had the whole flashback thing there, she like we learned just how hungry she was for pretty much all kinds of power.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, her line about "I want everything" is sort of true to her character, but maybe she's got a new perspective now on how to attain that.
We're gonna talk about that.
Mhm.
We're gonna talk about Cinder's new approach to things.
Oh, absolutely, we will.
So then we jump over. See, this is what I mean by this episode just jumping everywhere. We jump over to Harriet versus Crow.
Oh boy.
And she dislodges the bomb, and Crow is like trying to stop the bomb from falling out of the thing. And then the other Aesops show up and they're like, "No, Harriet, don't do it." And she's like, "No, I'ma do it. Go away."
Yeah, that's basically her mood. Is like, I want it though, but shut the fuck up, bitch.
I mean,
I like how he also was. This is like the last vestige of. He's trying to like talk to Harriet about Clover wouldn't want this, and she's like, I don't care what you don't know what Clover would want."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then he like pulls out Clover's as the bomb is going off the edge, and he's like, "Well, that's
so
a
I need
problem."
to talk about that. So like the whole thing where like the bomb is like slowly starting to like slide out of the thing, right?
Mhm.
And Crow is like watching the bomb slide, and he's just like, "Welp, time to reminisce about Clover."
yeah.
I mean,
know that that's what
can-
he was doing.
We can argue about semantics. My interpretation of that scene was he was trying to hold it back. Then, right as it got away from him, he falls to the side. And when he's looking at it, it's to the point where even if he jumped up and tried, he wouldn't make it in time, and he sees that.
They had.
Plus,
I'm sorry.
it's Crow.
I mean, they had so much time. Now, that being said, had he like gone to try to stop it, would he have been able to? Probably not. But even so, it's like, wow, you're not even gonna try, are you?
I mean, it kind of looks
He
that
hedged
way
his
at a
bets.
first glance, but him rubbing the coin was like, please, just one thing. I need just one thing, and he got it.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I will say I understand the significance of it because, you know, Lucky Clover,
Mhm.
you know, like
Yeah,
that.
I think it was good. I'm
right.
not complaining one bit about it.
I don't know.
I mean,
it was
I think-
just, I mean, like it was poetic, but it was like, I don't know. I found it kind of funny.
I mean,
Okay.
maybe a little corny, but I feel like
yeah.
Crow's whole semblance is that he's unlucky, right? Sometimes he's unlucky
Yeah.
for other people. Sometimes he's unlucky for himself. If he had tried to go and catch the bomb and stop it falling out, he probably would have just like accidentally set it off or something. Who knows? So I think he just like hedged his bets and said, "You know what? I really don't think this is gonna work, but let me just like rub this little
I know this
badge
isn't
from
going to
Clover
work,
and
but let me rely on superstition.
let me rely on luck and superstition." And I mean, is that not what good luck is? Right?
I mean, yeah. So, the bomb almost falls, but then it doesn't, and everybody's like, "Oh, whew,
But then
bullet
Watts.
dodged." And then Watts is like, "Bitch, you thought."
Bitch, you thought.
And he
Now I just want a shirt. Now I just want a shirt with Watts' face on it with that like captioned.
"Bitch, you
Oh my
thought."
God, yes. I need just a poster of Watts with sunglasses with bitch you thought.
Yes.
So Watts activates the bomb, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!" And then we scoot over to another fight.
Yep. Always back and forth with the fights here.
Always back and forth. That being said, though, just a little bit of praise for RWBY with a C here. You know, I know that we talked about this a little bit before in Volume 7, but we've talked at length before about our thoughts on the final fight in Volume 5 at Haven, and
Uh-huh.
how they handled group fights with that. and I just gotta I gotta say hats off to RWBY, and all the people over at Rooster Teeth, because they have upped their game so much regarding multi-character fights.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Like
they've
there were times when characters were switching fights, and it just felt so organic.
yeah.
There were
Like
fights going on in the background. You could see people moving around. I wasn't paying too much attention to the sound design, Brian. I'm sure you were, but I'm assuming there was sounds going on in the
there
background
was some
too.
very good sounds going on. Yes.
Mhm.
So that's a
yeah.
far cry from from Volume 5.
Yes. Yeah, it was. So anyways, the the improvement is real and it's noticed, and yeah, just really great job with all of that and being able to, there was so much jumping around this episode, and to make sure that each cut and each jump from one thing to the next felt natural and felt proper, and yeah, really really good job with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there are also just tons of fights going on in this portal place, and
Yeah.
RWBY has like a little skirmish with Neo where she loses Crescent Rose. Crescent Rose falls off into the void.
Into the happy sad pit. The happy sad pit.
The happy sad pit.
When I saw this, I was like, "We're gonna get a full redesign of Crescent Rose! Yes!
That's
Weaponry!"
That's
No,
what's gonna
I
happen.
had another
man.
thought. I had
Totally.
as soon as I saw Crescent Rose go over the edge, and I guess mild spoilers, maybe that's not the case anymore, but when I saw that happen, I was like, is Crow dead? Is this how RWBY inherits his weapon? Is this how that happens? Because
Oh
I feel
shit,
like
I didn't even consider that.
that was my first thought. I don't know if that's still a thing that's gonna happen. Spoilers, it doesn't happen in this season, but
Wait, what are you talking about? How would Crow be dead if the scythe was lost?
Oh, because if RWBY loses her scythe, then Crow dies, and that's a red flag that maybe Crow dies. And
my
RWBY
assumption has
inherits
been that
What?
his scythe.
my
Wait,
assumption for a while has
how
been
are
that
those
RWBY is
connected?
going
I'm
to
sorry.
inherit. That
I'm a
RWBY is
big
going to get
stupid.
Crow's scythe.
Oh.
That's
Okay.
an old theory before you even. I'm not even sure how long ago that theory was. That's a really old one.
Yeah.
That's probably from
Yeah,
Volume
that's one of
4, and we were
his-
like waving death flags for Crow when he got poisoned by
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
a
from
long
way
time
back
ago.
when, but
Back with
That
those
still
hasn't
videos that
happened.
no longer exist. Yeah.
Okay.
who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, so that yeah, Crescent Rose disappearing doesn't automatically mean that Crow is going to die. It's more like he took that as a red flag that Crow might die, and then
Yeah.
RWBY
Oh,
inherits
okay.
his scythe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But obviously that didn't happen.
Not this season.
So
I will before we get too much into it, just as we're talking about like this, sort of multi-person fight going on. A couple of things I just noticed on like character animation and stuff. Neo, of course, is great. Every time she fights, she just has this ease of, like she's not even trying. Like she just kind of uses the other person's attacks against them and just kind of like doesn't, like they throw an attack at her and she just like doesn't get hit by it, and
she's really good at kind of like using her opponent's energy against them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like she'll dodge an attack and use their momentum to swing them around to something that's going to be advantageous to her.
Redirecting your opponent's attacks is sort of her forte. But the other thing I noticed,
RWBY almost kind of does something similar at the very, very end with her fight, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
She does. Yeah, you're right. The other thing I noticed, and this goes back a couple episodes now, ever since I guess only 2 episodes, ever since Penny became less robot-y, the new and improved.
Ever since she became a real girl.
I've noticed, so normally like when they do her swords and stuff, right? They're like a big wheel behind her and they kind of spin. They've been doing some of that, but they've also been doing this thing where they're kind of like pushed down to the sides and sort of forming almost like wings, and then she flies around with them like that. And I gotta say, I was getting a strong like angel motif from her, given her sort of like, oh, she's the innocent character who just wants to be friends, and now she has angel wings, and it's like, this doesn't seems a little scary. I mean, if we didn't already think that, Penny was going to die this season, strong angel motifs are never a good sign.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't know if that's a thing that they were actually like trying to connect, but if they were, good on you, because that's good.
So, we jump from all of our little skirmishes in the portal place back to the ship with Harriet and Crow and the rest of the Aesops, and so they're like, well, there's no time to get out of the blast range, and then I think Elm, right? Elm is the
Vine.
Vine.
Elm's the feet.
Yes,
gal.
That's right. Yeah. Vine is the one with the stretchy arms. So Vine is like, nah, I got this. Y'all go on ahead. I'm gonna die. And
we'll save you all.
And so he so I just gotta point out, it's 100% Harriet's fault.
Oh, yeah.
100%. He did not have to die. That was on Harriet.
I mean, Harriet has to live with that now.
Oh my god.
So how he saves them all and saves the city that's going to be smashed anyways, but in case there's still some people evacuating, right? He saves the day by like stretching out his arms, turning his arms and fingers into a big like dome that envelops the ship, and then it blows up and it just like contains the explosion, I guess. Here's a question for you. Why did he have to be inside the bubble for that?
This was one of the things I nitpicked.
Huh.
Yeah.
No, he could have been outside of it.
Exactly. It's like, you literally didn't have to die, Elm. Or
That
sorry, Vine. Yeah.
That was... I never even considered that.
Actually,
You're
that's
right.
a good point. I didn't think about that. He could have made the bubble and not been in it.
Because it would have been like just closing your hands over a thing, only, he's on the outside, and then they could have because the explosion would have been contained, and he could have been falling through the sky, and they could have swung by and picked him up.
So he died for literally no reason.
Exactly. I think he died expressly for the purpose of making Harry go into a second grieving process.
Fuck.
It's like...
I mean, her... credit where credit's due. The voice acting, her scream
her scream was great. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, yes.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
But also,
But,
literally, Vine didn't have to die.
Didn't have to die.
You died for no reason. Absolute. In fact, it might not have even worked, because if the explosion killed him and his semblance deactivated immediately,
This was the riskier option.
This was worse.
Because if he couldn't have contained it, it might have just overtaken his power and exploded and blown up the city anyway.
Just
you could have had him fall off after the explosion. It rocks.
One thing that I thought about too is that he wrapped his arms around the whole ass ship. What if he would have just wrapped himself around just the bomb and
he seemed like he went to some extra work.
Yeah, maybe it's because
he could have just wrapped around the bomb itself, and I saw one comment, he would have lost his arms, and fair, but man.
But no arms versus no life,
right? Yeah.
And obviously we've proven that they have the technology to make pretty badass robot arms.
That's not anymore after they get done with this.
Yeah, that's one thing, but it was in the heat of the moment, and we as spectators are well, this is the way that you optimize and efficiently do this, but when you're in the heat of shit, it's fine.
It's his
that's
he's
his
a
whole
trained
thing is
military operative.
he's the Ren, like he's military Ren, right? He's supposed to be like super calm all the time, like level-headed. This is the guy that was like, it is illogical to, you know, think that Ironwood would actually blow. Oh wait, he's actually blowing people up. Well.
Yeah, one thing that I feel is kind of like made me kind of sad was that our Aesops, we didn't get a crazy amount of not that there was much time to be fair, but like we didn't get a lot of time to really get into and understand these characters. So like, you know, it kind of sucks because I think you know, if every character in a perfect world got all the screen time that let us really, you know, come to love them and understand them, that would be awesome. Because then moments like this, maybe there's a reason that it makes sense that he did it this way. Like maybe he's not as smart as we think he is. Like we truly don't know him that well, honestly. Like,
Well,
because I agree with what you're saying, but I also, you know, think what I think.
I feel like as far as I mean, you know, it's entirely feasible that like maybe the writers will go on a panel at some point and be like, oh no, this is how Elm's semblance works, like it had to be this way, and to which
Yeah.
that might be the case. However, that the problem is that wasn't like, if they do that, that wasn't clear at the time, that wasn't properly explained to the audience. And
No, I agree. That comes
you
back to
know,
what I was saying is we didn't get a lot of time to really get to know these characters on an emotional level, but also like on a semblance level. Like you know, in a perfect world, RWBY would have so much more time to give all these characters and to showcase these skills in really cool, interesting situations, and we'd be able to, you know, yeah, it's just kind of a thing that kind of sucks about the nature of what the show is. And yeah, you know, we can nitpick about he should have done it this way, and you know, we're right. He should have done it that way.
I don't know
but
that that's a nitpick. I think that's a pretty significant plot hole.
Yeah.
Well,
Also, I have another plot hole. Hey, WB, you own the corporation that owns the corporation that owns the show, and it makes you money. How the hell are we still doing these without the time they need?
You know,
here's the rant.
I have a thing about that, because I know that that's something that we've talked a lot about in the past, and I think we can get more into that discussion when we get to like the credit roll. But overall, I actually feel like my issues that I've had with the runtime of the show have been significantly alleviated with this volume. So we can talk about that in a bit.
We'll get there later. I know we will,
but
so I just want to say for this scene here, if we're going back to the scene, real quick, I do like what they did, trying to start, because you know we had this from last season. We had this conflict between Team RWBY and the Aesops. You know, the Aesops are not friends; they're just coworkers. They just work together. We're not friends. It's that friendship stuff that's got you, you know, that's making you weak as a team, right? That was the whole conflict between them last season. And so this, you know, at the end here, they sort of harken back to that a little bit. And they're like, well, hey, we are actually friends. That's why we're doing these things. You know, like maybe we were wrong. You know, like it's kind of, I think we see a similar closing of that arc with Penny and Winter, which we can talk about later. But I like that they're sort of wrapping those points up and bringing them back around.
Agreed. So, let's see, where am I with my notes? Right. Okay. So, yeah, so back to RWBY versus Neo. RWBY like slips off the edge and then like does her rose petal bullshit up and around and fucking attacks Neo from behind. And they both wind up falling off the edge, and Neo is like holding on with one hand. RWBY's like holding on to Neo's leg, and Cinder walks up, and you can see Neo being like, "Oh, Cinder, thank God!" And Cinder's like, "Oh, you dumb bitch."
Bitch, you thought. The theme of this episode is bitch, you thought.
And yeah, so Cinder straight up betrays Neo. She like takes the relic and she's like, "Yo, shouldn't have threatened me." Fucking kicks her off the edge.
Well,
And
she says something interesting to Ruby too.
oh, and you should have never been born. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what
that
does
was
that mean?
interesting.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to just say, right? Rather than
Mhm.
curse you, my arch nemesis, I've finally
Yeah,
defeated you.
yeah.
Right? It's a little more personal than that.
Yeah.
Very much so. And
What does Cinder know of the circumstances of Ruby's birth that we don't know? I mean,
yeah. So
And how does Cinder know about it, for the love of God? Salem barely tells her the time of day, let alone information.
Yeah.
So so she sends them hurtling off to the void. Blake tries to save Ruby, and Cinder is like, "Nope," fucking breaks her ribbon, and so Neo, Ruby, and Blake all go hurtling off into the void.
Well, I guess that's the end of the show, guys. That's it.
Yup,
no
they
more
are
Ruby,
all
no more
definitely
Ruby.
dead. This is how it ends.
Yes.
It's a bit of an anticlimax, honestly. I was expecting a big fight with Salem or something, but I guess that's not happening.
Nope.
And so at seeing this, Jean is like, "Hey, Nora, go through the gate and see if you can bring back any huntsman," which we know that's gonna go great.
Yep. That was, he's like, okay, well, now we don't have, how many people do we have left in this fight? Because it's fewer now.
And so, so Cinder, then Jean joins the fight, and Cinder's arm does a whole thing, which apparently means Salem is back.
It's I interpreted that as, I don't know if this is even in the books. In the Harry Potter movies, when like Voldemort comes back and all the Death Eaters, their little tattoo, I forget what it's called, the Dark Mark, like starts going all quiggly and weird, and they're like, "Oh, the Dark Lord's returned." That's what this means.
Yep. And so now it's just Cinder versus Jean, Penny, and Weiss. And Cinder is like, "Hey, Penny, poke." Fucking
poke is, that's a word for that.
Yeah. And fucking like she pokes Penny with their hand and like gives her little pokes.
Little pokes right through the heart
and starts to siphon off maiden energy. And then Weiss steps in to like get her to stop. And Jean's like, "Oh no, Penny, let me heal you." And Penny's like, "No, you can't. There's no time.
There's no time.
You can't. It can't be done."
Okay, all right. I have a comment about that.
Okay, no, hang on. Before we get to that, let me get through this, and then I promise we will talk about this. So, Jean is like, no, there's time. And Penny's like, no. There's one thing you can do for me. Just let me choose this one thing. And, Jean straight up murders Penny.
Oof.
Assisted suicide is maybe another way to put that, but yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Forrest, go.
Okay, I wasn't even gonna get into the assisted suicide bit. I was just gonna say that whole "no, go on without me" line, which is so cliche and just about everything. It kind of okay. My initial reaction was, "Oh God, that's so cliche." My second reaction was, "Well, maybe she's actually right," because Weiss was busy fighting Cinder in the background all by herself. If Jean's there healing Penny, I mean, Weiss is a good fighter, but I don't know that she had that, right? So it's kind of a like, well, you can sit here and you can heal me, and then maybe Weiss will die, and then maybe I'll be too weak to fight, and then it's just you versus Cinder. Good luck with that. Uh, or you can try and team up on Cinder now and maybe defeat her, but then I'll probably like bleed out and die.
Yeah,
That's how I. The second time I went through it, I had to watch it again. I was like,
yeah. So my reaction to this whole thing, because I have thoughts about this decision, and uh yeah, my initial reaction was the same, was the, oh no, there's no time. I was like, that's such a pet peeve of mine. I hate when the characters get sent out like that. My I guess my initial thoughts on it are, honestly, Penny's death feels a little cheap to me. Like, Penny's death had, I remember Penny's death having such huge significance in Volume 3. And where, like, Penny's death was this signifier of everything changing, right? And it was, it was built up to properly because, Mercury had his whole, like, ooh, polarity versus metal. That's bad.
yeah, there was some heavy foreshadowing for that.
Yeah, there was like heavy foreshadowing with it, and so we went into the Penny versus Pyrrha fight, really seriously concerned about what was going to happen to Penny, and I was like, I wasn't expecting this at all. Like, it kind of, at least to me, it felt like it came out of the blue, and as a result, because it wasn't really built up to in any way, and I couldn't really discern any obvious, like, plot or or I shouldn't say plot, more obvious, like, thematic reasons behind making this decision, it came off somewhat cheap to me. It came off like, okay, she's a real girl now, which means her arc is over and we have no more use for this character. That's kind of how it felt, at least to me. So I now, that being said, I'm gonna try to withhold my final judgment on this Penny death decision, because I want to see if Penny's death continues to have significant repercussions into the future. Because obviously, one of the things that we've praised the show a lot for is just how meaningful Pyrrha's death was and how much it affected the show and the characters overall. But it really, what I want to see moving forward into Volume 9 is I want to see Penny's death resonate, not just in our characters are sad now, but I want to see it resonate in a very serious thematic way. In order for me to feel good about this decision.
I kind of want to give my thoughts on Penny's death based on my instinctual RWBY fan reaction as I was watching it, because I experience RWBY differently when I watch it alone versus when I watch it like with friends. And I kind of enjoy when I'm watching RWBY. I like to watch the first episode, or right when it comes out. I like to watch it by myself or with someone that, like, I know is gonna be all like fangirly, or like there's certain people where, like, when you're watching it the first time, there's just an energy, versus there's certain people you want to watch it the second time with so you can analyze more. But as a fan, my emotional reaction, I remember well, first things first, when Penny said, "But Jean, there's something you can do," I was like, Jean is not gonna be a maiden, is he? Like, I actually, the thought crossed my mind for a millisecond. Like, I didn't truly believe he was going to be, but I remember when she said that, it flashed through my head him in a magical girl outfit. And I was like, But then it had like the flash of winter, and I was like, oh, okay. So
Mhm.
as she was dying, and when Jean did the stuff, and then it took Penny to the other realm where she met Winter and they had that conversation. I was crying, and my reaction was like, "No, don't take Penny again. Fuck. Like you can't do this. She just got legs. She's like I was like actually genuinely feeling like emotional. And one thing that I felt that it isn't necessarily my analysis brain on, but it's my RWBY fan of RWBY love for RWBY brain. The fact that I didn't see it coming enhanced the experience for me, and it actually made it hit harder for me. And while on a second watch, there are some elements I can agree to of like, like maybe it wasn't her time or, whatever. But as I was watching it, there have been so many moments this season that I didn't see coming, and I kind of want to give props to the CRWBY in a way for making their writing like not necessarily unpredictable in the sense of like, oh, it's so low random, because that's not true. There's a lot of great things they've
Mhm.
built towards, and like this wasn't so out of the blue that it's like impossible for it to have happened, but it was just out of the blue enough to where it kind of caught me off guard and caught me in a different rhythm, and it made kind of the sting hit a little bit. And as I was watching it happen, it felt like a real farewell to a character in a heat of the moment type of way, instead of like this huge dramatic build up to the death. And when they were in the other realm and they were having that conversation, I've loved Winter and Penny's dynamic this season, and I really loved how emotional that moment felt for me. Because even if the lines seem predictable, because they've been building up Winter feeling like she's a robot and Penny being that emotional side, it felt very real and genuine to me, and I really enjoyed that dialogue, and I enjoyed that we got to have the catharsis for their
Mhm.
for that moment. And like, yeah, it made me really happy. And
That's sort of closing of the loop
yeah, yeah,
from
Yeah.
yeah. And so
earlier.
just as a fan, it just it made me really it took me to a very emotional place. And I find that I'm able, as I'm watching RWBY, to get to that emotional place very easily, because there might be some people that like, and even myself included, that find moments in the show where I'm like, oh, writing could do this or this. But one thing they've done very well is captured the hearts of people in a way that not a lot of shows have done for me. And like, there's so much badass shit that goes into this show. Like the fact that the music is always on point, the fact that like the character designs, the characters themselves all just have such fun, unique stories, and that they can still make me fucking cry every time. Granted, it's easy to make me cry. I don't, I don't know. My thoughts on the Penny death. I agree with you on some stuff, Brian, on a second watch, but like, isn't the true point of a show that the fans that fucking love it being able to have that genuine experience? And like, on a technical standpoint, yeah, if you're wanting to make your own show, there's stuff to consider. But like, I'm gonna call it a win for Katie.
Well, here's I mean
All
here's
right.
here's one thing that I've always maintained, right? Is that the point of entertainment is to entertain, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's we look, I think we all know my thoughts on Sword Art Online.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It's almost
Okay.
like you've done an entire rant
Uh
series on that.
uh
uh,
um and the truth of the matter is like I will absolutely come down on SAO for all of the many things that I think that it does very poorly. However, the truth of the matter is that there's a huge fan base behind SAO who all enjoy it immensely, and I will admit that even I enjoy SAO. I've said many times that I don't enjoy SAO for the right reasons, but I do enjoy very much watching SAO, and there is absolutely something to be said about um just making something that you have a large amount of people that will sit down and watch it, and whether there are technical problems or not, everybody still winds up having a good time. And even though I am coming down on them for, this is the way that this particular decision made me feel, and this is kind of how it came off to me, which I don't think is what they were going for, right? Uh, I still absolutely would concede that I enjoyed the episode, and I enjoyed this season as a whole. So I would never go so far as to say that I think that what they did with this episode or what they've done with this season is a complete and utter failure. Because you're right, there are loads of people who really, really enjoy it, and that's a huge win. But yeah, I guess on the technical side of things, because a lot of this podcast is, I mean, this is an analysis podcast.
Yeah,
This is
it's
how we
true.
operate.
I wanted
Yeah.
to, for once, because it's been a while since I've done it, to really acknowledge like the what's it called, like ethos, pathos, and logos, and like
Yeah.
and logos is like, logical side, ethos is ethics, and pathos is like your emotions. That's correct.
Yeah, it's your passion,
Yeah.
your emotional
Yeah,
side.
passion. And like I really wanted to explore like the pathos of it, and because when I'm watching RWBY by myself, it's a very like cathartic experience, because some of the things that my technical brain would go to when I'm doing a second watch, I'm able to just genuinely and childlikely enjoy RWBY. And so even though there are things that could technically be off, RWBY's able to mesh and meld everything cohesively enough to where when I'm watching, I can have a genuinely good experience without being distracted by like some crazy plot hole, or to an extent where it actually truly takes away my enjoyment. Because there are some shows where if they have stuff like that, there's times where it actually can fully pull you out of it. But RWBY has overall been a very cohesive experience for me. When I'm watching it, I can still have these very emotional moments, because if there's anything wrong, it's not like some blindingly horrible thing wrong. Like, I guess that's a weird way to compliment the show. 'Cause
I mean,
there's things that
I
are
will.
wrong,
It
obviously.
depends on. I will say it depends on the moment, and it depends on the season. Because RWBY, I think, has definitely been guilty in the past of doing things that are blindingly wrong, in my opinion. And there are. I wouldn't, with this season in particular, I don't know that they've done anything that I would say like was completely and totally blindingly wrong, but there have been many moments in this season that took me out of it. But I think that's just, that experience is going to be different for everyone.
Mhm.
And
I mean, even for me, the bit with Vine could have saved himself. In the moment, I was like, oh no, Vine. It wasn't until after I was like, oh, actually, maybe
Wait a second.
like that didn't take me out of it in the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, exactly. And
So-
honestly, one thing about this episode in general, or the last few episodes that has really gotten me in an emotional place, is even though, when Yang fell, I didn't think she actually died. I really loved the fact that they give these moments to the other characters, to their loved ones, because you can
Yeah.
have a truly emotional, cathartic experience when you're witnessing Blake think that she's lost her loved one, or when Weiss fell. When Winter thought she fucking lost Weiss, I was fucking almost in tears there. Like, those moments where the characters are safe, but you actually get to experience the grief on camera, like as if they are really gone. That's what it's about, because yeah, the stakes are a little less as an audience member in that sense, but they didn't just disregard it in the show. There are people that still think there are consequences, and we get to see through their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because we, the audience, know. Oh, well, from a narrative
Yeah.
perspective,
Yeah.
it's really stupid to kill your whole main cast.
We've been
Yeah.
talking a
The
lot
show
about.
don't know that.
We've been
But we
talking
can
a
still
lot
have an
about
emotional
how-
experience with this outside fourth wall knowledge, because the other characters are experiencing this grief, and we care about these characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I will say, in regards to the unexpected nature, I definitely think that you're right. There's merit to having your show, doing things that your audience can't predict. In the case of Penny, though, and you know, this is back to analysis brain here, right? When I look at the way that they handled Penny, if you're talking about a show like, say, The Walking Dead, or oh my God, why am I spacing the Game of Thrones? That one.
I was gonna say, are you
Yeah.
talking about Game of Thrones?
Yeah, Game of Thrones, like where the show is known for killing off characters just like that, like really fast,
You know,
not
before
without like
season 6.
without any build up, without any, you know, right? Like it's known for being that kind of brutal, right? Then there's, I think, that actually brings a certain level of tension to the audience as a viewer, where they're going, oh man, anybody could die at any given time. And when somebody goes out without any real buildup, you're like, oh, well, I mean, fuck, they're gone. And you can't, like, there's a part of the fun in it because you can't predict who's going to be next and whatnot. But RWBY isn't that kind of a show. And to send a major character out without any real build-up to build up the overall significance of the death, that... I don't know. I feel like that's not the greatest way to go about things, in my opinion.
I thought on maybe something they could have done, because I love my foreshadowing as much as I enjoy, you know, Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 5. You know, basically, you know, I like the kind of show where anybody could die at anyone when it's really tense because you don't know what's going to happen. I love me some foreshadowing, right? Foreshadowing is great. So I feel like in terms of foreshadowing for this, they maybe could have done something a bit with, you know, Penny. You know, she's a really good fighter, but she's used to having a robot body that's pervious to a lot of things. So
like pain.
Yeah, like pain. So I don't know how they could have shown this in maybe, you know, a PG kind of way, but they could have shown, like, you know, she gets hit and there's like a little cut on her or something.
I
or like
actually
she's taken
do
some
wanna
damage.
I want to tell you about a meme me and Brian were talking about the other night, where I suggested, what if Jean had just yeeted her off the side?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Like,
Yeah,
what
it's
if she was
Penny's
like, Jean?
Penny's just like, I need to go. Like, I need you to stab me with your sword. And Jean's like, what? No, there's an abyss right here. Like,
Yeah, we don't
Really
have to make.
off.
Like, I don't want you to feel any pain. Maybe I can just send you to where they are. And like, what if he just throws her over and she just lands on the beach like like a corpse? Like next season just starts with like Penny corpse. Ruby's like, oh God.
See,
That would
I'm sorry,
change.
I'm disrespecting Penny so much right now, but it was just so
Oh
funny
my
thinking about her
See,
being
here's the
yeeted
thing.
over the side.
That
And
would
also,
change-
the thing, ladies and
That would
gentlemen.
change the end credits scene so much.
so much. Like, oh my God, she's thrown over the side, and you know how Ruby's scythe was right? Like, she's
Yeah,
on
it's just like
Oh my-
Penny sitting.
Penny's just skewered by Crescent Rose.
Oof.
Rest in peace, Penny. Also, real quick before we keep talking about it, I want to say hi to Tina and Bo that are in the chat. I saw
Yeah, I saw
was-
them.
I wasn't
Yeah,
looking
they're
too
here.
much at the chat, but I
Hello.
just noticed that they commented, and they're giving some really fun commentary, and I just wanted to say hi. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Wanted to acknowledge those badass hoes.
So, on the topic
They
of Penny,
they have like Twitches and stuff. You should go follow them. They're
Go
they're
do
heckin'
that.
yeah,
cool.
probably.
They're here. They talk about RWBY too.
Yee.
I got a serious point about Penny though.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Let's hear it.
I don't think we've seen the last of Penny Palladina.
You think they're gonna bring her
you
back?
think they're gonna bring her back
A
again?
third time.
Here's the thing though.
A third.
Who are two people we did not see at the end of this episode in any way, shape, or form?
Geppetto and the.
Oh my
the
God.
Reaper lady.
Wait, are you saying that maybe Penny's body actually is on the beach?
No.
Oh fuck!
No.
Oh my God!
Oh fuck!
God,
You're right. Penny's
Oh my
body might actually be
Actually
on the beach.
On the beach! Holy shit! Because everything was disappearing, and Jean fell into the void, and so Penny's body was still there.
I'm sorry. Could you fucking imagine if the end credit scene was Crescent Rose just sticking out of the beach, and then just Penny falls onto Crescent Road.
Oh my god!
Now,
She's just there on the beach, and like
Holy
the water's
shit, though,
coming
that is-
in. And,
That is,
God.
I'm sorry to take away from your very serious
That's-
point, but there is actually a very serious possibility we're just gonna get Penny's corpse in the next episode.
we might get Penny's corpse,
Don't
but
think
also,
so, but
if Penny
But no,
had
there-
a backup
It has
memory,
to be.
It-
Where could her body have gone otherwise? Because it wouldn't just vanish, because then Jean would vanish.
that's
Because Jean was still there when everything was shutting
I
down.
mean, the body being there is not necessarily the point. The point is that Pietro and Maria are still alive.
So
And
okay,
what
here's
that
my
could potentially be a renewed Penny, although without her memories in any way, shape, or form.
yeah, it's gonna be Robo Penny 3.0.
yeah,
Penny
like
3.0.
because
4.0.
that was before Penny. Yeah, because like he was able to do that when Penny was still a robot. She's not a robot anymore.
Yeah, she's a real
Yeah.
girl.
She's
Yeah.
a real girl now, so that version of Penny is gone. I am fully convinced of that. But Pietro was
Yes.
still alive and may attempt a third time.
I mean,
He's still
if
alive.
you don't,
But it
You don't
wouldn't
think
be
he
our
saved
Penny,
her
though.
onto
It would
a
just
hard
be
drive
making
somewhere?
her
Penny.
robots.
but it might take her appearance. Or
I
something
don't know.
similar.
I mean,
That feels like that would be. I don't think Pietro would disrespect his daughter's death like that.
yeah, I feel
not
like
sure.
that's. I feel like
I am. I'm sure he wouldn't do that.
I look. Let's. I hope they don't do that. If they do that, death will have no meaning.
I mean,
Like, honestly,
I'd
it would
like
be
to just-
Specifically
disrespectful
for
to bring
Penny,
her
but-
back at this
Yeah.
point. With how many deaths she's had and the significance of passing on the Winter Maiden powers, the most I think should happen here is I think, on a not funny note, Penny's body should wind up on the beach and they should give her like a beautiful burial or something. But then again, that would also be like, Jesus Christ, how many times are we gonna fucking talk about her death? That would be like, she gets another funeral? Like,
Oh my god.
oh my god, if we don't get her body on that fucking beach, that's gonna be a plot hole. At me. Don't even at me.
Like I love we were fucking talking I think last week about no we weren't talking no it wasn't last week, it was yesterday after we watched the thing. We were joking that fucking Wonderland which is what people
Yeah.
are calling the after credits place. We were joking about that just being where Ambrosius just hangs out when he's not like,
Yes, yeah, in
Oh,
his treehouse.
like that's his treehouse, and he's just like all the RWBY girls showed up, and he's like, Jesus Christ, I told you fuckers not to fall.
Yeah.
Fall.
What
Like,
part
he's
of don't fall off did you?
And now
not
you're
understand?
raining you're raining fucking bodies on my roof. Come on. Like,
Like, I love the fact that he only told them not to fall because he'd hate to be inconvenienced because he doesn't have enough teacups or some shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I
Like,
got
don't
two
have enough-
teacups.
I don't have enough dinner plates for you bitches. Like, I'm just trying to vibe. And like, then why'd you say not to fall so seriously? Because it's a serious inconvenience when I'm throwing a party and too many guests show up. Like
I
that
just-
shit.
So let's
I just
see.
want to see Team Ruby roll into this treehouse, and he and Jin are just sitting there sipping coffee or something. Like
Oh
this
my
is where all
God,
the
I want
genies
it
hang
so
out or
bad.
something.
There was also one other important character who fell, because we know falling does not equal your immediate death.
Yeah.
Neo
well,
fell.
yes,
fell,
true.
yeah.
Neo fell.
And
Yeah.
he's
Neo is
gonna be
also
out
Neo.
for fucking blood now.
Oh my god.
I'm not sure who she's gonna want to kill first, Cinder or Ruby. It's like, okay, Ruby killed the only person I really cared about, and the person who was supposed to help me do that threw me off the edge of the world to presumably stop me from threatening her again because I made a meme about having the lamp and she didn't.
Yeah, she Cinder gets one sassy text and she's full Angie mode.
And she's I will murder you.
So
I
the
will
next
murder you
chance I
over
get.
sassy me. Cinder is just ironwood.
So the question is, what is she gonna go for? Heck, she might even be on the island wherever they are in Wonderland.
No,
I
she definitely
think
is.
she
They're,
would be.
they're together, I think.
I think we're gonna get more Neo next
I would
season.
suspect
Yeah.
so, but we don't necessarily know exactly how far, like, where you
Neo's-
fell correlates to where you pop out.
Neo's gonna swap sides now. She's gonna go from like
Oh, yeah.
I fucking hate Ruby to okay, Ruby, we need to work together to kill that bitch.
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
That may
Like,
be a
you know
legitimate-
we're
I
gonna
mean,
get a scene where Ruby is on the beach or something with Neo, and Ruby's explaining her shit, and and Neo can't fucking talk, and so she'll just be like maybe crying or like whatever, like you don't understand, but they're gonna find a way to communicate to her, and then they'll have a beautiful moment because she's fucking RWBY, and
RWBY has to do is be like, dude, I didn't kill Torchwick, okay? We had a fight. He got eaten by a Grim. There's really not much I could have done.
He was busy monologuing at me, okay?
He did the villain thing, and he got himself killed.
Like, are you gonna believe Cinder, the girl that just threw you off a fucking cliff?
Yeah.
Like, listen, okay? There was nothing I could have done. He was busy doing dumb villain shit, all right? It's your boss's fault for being an idiot.
Here's
It's
the thing,
true.
though. This just could make Neo into Chaos Incarnate. Like, it could be that she still doesn't forgive RWBY and still chooses to hate her, but also is also adding Cinder to her shit list. So she could become a mutual pain in the ass for both sides, because she might not necessarily care about who wins or loses anymore.
I could go for that. I could go for some Arya Stark making a list of all her enemies kind of stuff.
Yeah, just like, it is perfectly possible that this just sends Neo into, well, she's already crazy, but full on insanity. Like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill you, and by the way, anybody else between me and them also dies. Not just RWBY now, it's basically everybody. Because everybody's basically died on her, who she's ever cared about, or stabbed her in the ass.
That's true.
We're gonna get feral Neo.
We're gonna get
like
Neo
a
with
cat, like
teenage
hissing
trust
at them.
Neo's fucking rabies. Like,
oh, do you think Neo's gonna like transform into like a cool bird or something? Like, you know, they're on a tropical island.
not more birds.
Turn into a bird, RWBY.
So,
Oscar, turn her into a bird.
So anyway, moving on from the fact that Penny's corpse is now on a beach.
Yeah.
So moving forward, so
right
Penny
along.
thinks of Winter, and we've got a little scene with Winter, where they kind of call out the thing that they've been doing the whole time, where like Winter was the machine, and you know,
Penny was the human.
Penny was the human,
Yeah.
you know, and Winter, you can see that there's like a reservation about that. Like, Winter is like, I was just the machine. And Penny's like, what? No, bitch, you're my friend. That's all that matters.
Yeah. It was such a shonen moment of like that anime, like, nuh-uh, friendship. And it was like, and I loved it. I ate it up. I ate it up so hot. Like, it was so yummy. Oh, give me the power of friendship. Fucking shove it in my veins. I love it.
We already know that they're gonna have to win through the power of friendship. We got four main
Obviously.
protagonists and an evil villain who doesn't love anybody. I mean, we're already this is friendship wins. That
Absolutely.
It can't happen any other way.
Indeed. So Winter receives the Winter Maiden powers finally,
which Ironwood promptly takes credit for.
Yup. She's like, nope, this was not. This was a gift. And then she promptly one-shots Ironwood.
I just wish Ironwood had been using any other weapon at the start of this fight. Like, the cannon is cool when you're obliterating Jacques Schnee and breaking out of the cell. It does not make a cool anime weapon for a fight.
It needed more blades on it.
Like, it's like, oh, you're swinging around a blunt object at a terrible angle with no leverage. Like, you should just be hitting her.
Like Winter, like, by all rights, should have had the massive advantage in close quarters there.
Yeah. Like, Ironwood, I get it, you're Iron Daddy, you're a badass, but you're not that kind of a badass. This is not that kind of thing.
I mean, his fight with Watts, where it's like pistol to pistol, and they're like smacking each other around, and the whole gravity thing, like, that was a pretty. This one, I don't know what he was thinking, but it's not even that good of a club. He's just like, it's like a really awkward suitcase he's just springing around. I don't. What are you doing? What?
Well, hey,
I got swords. You brought.
Listen. There is another character that we've seen suitcases work really well for. All right.
This is true. This is
But
this.
you can
Well,
actually
handbags.
get some leverage on those. That doesn't work
And
for like
I
this
mean-
club you're holding awkwardly with two hands.
And it does. I mean, and I will admit it does definitely help that that handbag also turned into a freaking Gatling
Minigun.
gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
I mean,
lifts, bro.
I'm just surprised Ironwood's not dead because we saw him obliterate Jacques Sneak. Jacques Sneak was a smoldering crater when he fired a shot at him. Ironwood must have like the most like his
maybe aura.
semblance must have been he must have used up every ounce of his aura there to not
I got the feel that it was charge time. Like, he got to just stand there and charge up the gun as much as he liked when he was killing Jacques. Like, he's not going anywhere. He thinks he's getting busted out until the last moment. For this, it's like, oh, he is having to quick charge this gun when he can get her to fuck off long enough that he can pull the triggers in coordination.
I would also like to point out we still don't have an explanation for Ironwood being let out of his cell other than Atlas was falling and one wire broke.
God, that's
right.
Because Watts is also at the start of the episode, like, banging on the control room window. Like, let me out, please.
Oh God.
Yeah,
So
that
like,
just happened. Well, let's just ignore that. That's fine. You don't think about it too much.
That's not something that happens by random. I still assert it was Watts, but by not confirming it was Watts, we're just wires crossed.
Nope,
Stars aligned
it was
in a
just
perfect confluence of absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Perfection.
So, moving on from that, so back to the portal area. Jean is fighting Cinder. Jean's sword breaks, and then Winter arrives to fight Cinder for a badass maiden fight.
Ooh, bitch.
And then while they're fighting, Jean and Weiss try to escape, but Cinder sends Weiss flying off the edge.
Guys, can we have a moment of silence for White Knight officially becoming the best ship ever?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Hashtag White Knight is dead 2021.
Can we have a moment for all of our like main crew? I guess they're all dead now. Whoops. Okay.
Whoopsie
That's
doopsie.
the last one.
You guys, Weiss and Jean shared a very tender 8 seconds on screen where they were walking together. You don't understand. This means they're gonna love each other forebver.
Okay.
That's what it means.
If Jean was the last man on Earth, which is looking like he might be at the going rate, maybe.
They're gonna go to this utopia and start over.
He is the last guy in Jin Island or wherever that.
We're gonna get our Blake and Yang. We're gonna get our Weiss and Jean, and then Ruby's gonna be with herself because she's so
with
perfect.
Neo.
No one could ever truly love her.
Neo, no, no.
She's the cherry on top of the Neopol. It's fine.
No, guys, it's fine. Nuts and Bolts is still on. Ruby's gonna hug Penny's corpse and be sad.
Oh my God.
Let's not go
All
with where
ships
that
will
context
sail.
would lead us. That could go us down a slippery slope into topics not comfortable for television in any way, shape, or form.
Whoa, dude, you're the one that took it there. I'm saying she's gonna hug her corpse sadly.
Yeah, but where that progresses and what you implied.
I am implying nothing, dude. You're making it that.
Anyways,
so
Winter's real upset that Weiss died.
Yeah, it's true. We did lose Weiss.
Yes, she is. And then Cinder uses the staff to destroy their portal shit. To which Winter tells her, "You are going to pay for everything you've done." And then they start heading for the exit, both her and Jean. And Winter is like, "Fuck you, Jean. I'm faster."
she doesn't bring Jean with her.
Yeah.
Then she looks back and she's like, "Oh, I probably should have just grabbed his hand, huh?"
Probably should have just needed this boy.
Yep.
So Jean dies in the most Jean way possible.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah, he
really Jean'd it.
Full dead.
So she makes it through the portals. Jean doesn't, and he falls into the void. And Winter arrives as backup to the Grim in Vacuo, which boy, that's gonna be real useful for them. And the last thing we hear from her, God, I mean, shout out to Elizabeth Maxwell just in general
God,
for
yes.
her just great performance overall as Winter. But that last scream,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
last scream
good.
was top notch.
There's so much anguish in it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the main cast is dead.
it's true. We're gonna have to start over, guys. Get a new show.
Maybe go back to doing Genlock full time.
Yeah. Fuck.
Oh
So-
my god.
Season
No,
2 is
remember,
still supposed to be
it's-
coming.
It's Team Ron now. Come on, guys. We gotta follow Team Ron on their wacky adventures.
Can we
No,
go
it's just
with
now it's gonna
Neuro
be now
instead?
it's just gonna be Team Sun and
Oh my
Team
God.
Sun becomes the main cast
yeah.
Yes.
with
They got
only 2
promoted.
characters that are actually developed enough to be on screen.
Yeah. Who are just standing out in the middle of the desert for some reason.
We didn't even see the character Gavin Free play as. He didn't even
Oh
get camera
my
time.
God.
So Cinder arrives where Ironwood is, who, as we've said, is somehow alive. And then Salem arrives. In my notes, I wrote Salem is arrives.
Salem
okay.
is arrives.
Salem is arrive.
Oh my
Um,
God. Why are they meeting here? This seems like a weird place to meet, right?
Just cause.
Maybe.
I guess.
I mean, they could have met at the whale. They could
I
have
mean,
met.
Cinder just went through a random door, and it happened to be the one that Ironwood went through. I don't think she chose that one necessarily, like for any particular purpose, except that it just happened. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, Salem arrives, and this is where things get a little interesting.
mm-hmm.
Cinder straight up lies to Salem.
She
about
lies
some-
to mommy.
About some of the details of what happened. She's
Yeah.
Like all the details.
She's playing Salem now.
Mm-hmm.
She's playing her game at least.
Dude, Cinder
Yeah.
wants everything. She's finally decided, you know what? Fuck it. If I'm gonna die anyway, I'm gonna fucking like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Like-
reach for everything I want.
yeah, I'm gonna claim it. I'm gonna do whatever I have to take.
Well,
Like, this is already a dangerous game, and I low-key respect it.
here's the thing. In
Yeah.
this game of 4D chess that the world is playing with itself, we have a new player on the field. It previously, Salem was like a rook or a bishop for Salem. Now she's the queen of her own kingdom, as it were, with her own set of players and pawns, or at least we would hope, but she doesn't, because she uses people and then throws them away, like she did with Neo and Watts.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But so she gives Salem the relics,
Yeah.
lies to her, and Salem is like, "Oh, you did well, Cinder. Like you, not everything was perfect, but like."
On the note of Cinder lying, she definitely lied about the genie question. I do think that Cinder thinks Ruby's dead.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no,
definitely.
yeah, that wasn't a question. Yeah, of course she does.
But she said it differently. She didn't say, "Oh, they fell into the void and they died." She said, "Neo killed Ruby and then they fell into the abyss."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Mhm.
she's like, "Okay, Ruby's. If maybe Neo fell into the abyss and maybe that killed her and maybe it didn't.
No,
Who
yeah.
knows? But Ruby is dead. We don't have to worry about Ruby anymore. She's
I
dead.
mean-
Definitely dead. Sardai. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Neo
Yeah,
killed
she
Ruby
only
by
feels
letting
so
go,
emboldened.
you know?
She only feels so emboldened to lie because she thinks there's no more witnesses.
Yeah.
I mean-
She's killed all the witnesses.
I mean, Neo is the reason Ruby is dead. Neo killed Ruby by letting go, right? He just shouldn't let go.
Totally.
It's all
Yeah,
her
that's
fault.
on
I mean,
her.
she shouldn't have let go when I stomped on her fingers. Yeah.
Well, that's on her.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, you can spin that lie, you can spin that story, but I get the feeling that they don't want the questions to get that far.
so
Yeah.
do we think that Salem bought the lie? Or do we think
No.
that Salem is just like, "Oh, that's cute that you're lying to me, but you brought the relics, so I don't really care."
I don't think she
Honestly,
cares.
I do think it's a 50-50 for me, because I do think it's very possible that Salem's like, I don't give a fuck, I got my relics, I'm gonna kill you anyway. But I do think in this moment, Cinder actually was able to have some upper hand here and get away with it. Like not upper hand in the sense that, Salem could kill her any moment she wants because she's fucking Salem. But like I think Cinder found some confidence and delivered on it, and like I would believe that Salem believes her because the bottom lines are true and Cinder's telling the bottom lines correctly. The devil's in the details, but the details don't matter now because the end result is all Salem cares about. So even though they're lies, they're not consequential enough that Salem would look into it. So I think Salem's not going to question it.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think that she cares. I think she cares about the end result, not about the context of this matter, which is
For
definitely what she
confidence.
gets. It's Neo is dead, Ruby is dead. Here are the relics. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's everything I needed to know. Like, you got me the relics, but, Neo's dead and Ruby's dead. What a damn shame about Ruby. Oh well.
I
Yeah.
could have turned her into a goop monster. Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
Next time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Salem asks Cinder, well, what creation did you make to get rid of theirs?
Oh, bitch.
To which she said, I merely added more flames to the fires of Atlas. In which we see Watts trying to break out of a fire-filled room.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Are we to believe then that she destroyed the gateway nexus other time and space place, and all she did was add a little bit of fire into specifically Watts's room?
no.
I think what she did was basically just cause chaos in some form or fashion. Presumably, for Watts' case, locking down the building.
Yeah, and so, but this is a new side of Cinder too that we're seeing, in that, we were talking about how about how Cinder has now learned to work with other people in order to get what she wants. Well, it turns out that that's true to a certain extent. She's learned how to use other people to get what she wants and then discard them when she no longer needs them.
Right. So that was part of the equation that was missing, is right? When you don't need them anymore, she was just kind of keeping people around. Like, she had a whole crew of people, and like they didn't really do a whole lot for her, but like,
Yeah.
disposable hench people. Use them and get rid of them.
Yep.
One-time use meant henchmen.
Yeah.
Super unreliable because they don't get to live long enough to become competent.
So then we see Atlas comes crashing down. Crow looks absolutely horrified at the idea that Ruby might be down there, which, fair. And then we see Atlas gets completely flooded. The water comes up above the camera. And then credits roll.
Uh-huh.
Which
Yeah.
I think
Day after
this
tomorrow nonsense. That was.
I think this might be the darkest ending to a season of RWBY we've ever had.
Yeah.
Volume
all our
3?
characters are dead. No, because like our main crew died, as far as we know, right? Pre credits. The entire city was evacuated, but is now destroyed. Oh, and then also for some reason it flooded. I'm still not really sure why it flooded. It was flipping cool.
Yeah.
But
Maybe that was the thing that Salem actually created, was she like blew the floodgates on something.
yes, by fire she meant, a bunch of water. That's
It's an inverse metaphor.
It was my thought too. I was like, maybe she meant water.
This is, and then we get like the end credit scene.
Yes. I also, so Watt's definitely dead, right?
Probably, yeah.
Definitely
Likely,
dead.
unless like they
Ironwood probably dead.
Ironwood very likely dead. Maybe
The
they'll try to
last
turn
we
him
see
into
of
a
him-
monster.
Because
One
the thing is,
silly thought I just had was when Cinder summoned Ambrosia. That's his name, Ambrosia, right?
Ambrosius.
Ambrosius, when she summoned him and was like, hey, I need you to make a big fire in Atlas. Was he like, you're gonna have to show me what fire it? Like, how does he like
Can you draw me fire? How do
draw
I
me a map of how to make fire? Like,
what's the
like
chemical composition of
fire. Like, I don't know. Like, I laugh at the idea of their conversation because maybe Cinder was like, fucking burn up Atlas, and Ambrosia was like, okay, that's pretty straightforward. Like, there's not a way to fuck it up because you don't care if it's destroyed. So
Yeah.
In fact,
No,
that's what you're
she
looking
said
for.
fire, and he was like, "Oh, I know how to do this. We'll just make a big flood.
we'll just make water.
Maybe she
That'll
said
teach her."
destroy Atlas. It's like, okay, hopefully you get caught in this, you fucking bitch. Let's
Oh
flood
my
the
God.
place.
Fuck.
I just see, because I mean, he's a djinn, right? He's kind of like, they're not really good or bad. They just kind of, they do their own thing, right? So maybe he was like a little, he's not necessarily a good guy. When Cinder said, "I want you to burn down all of Atlas," maybe he was like, "Oh boy, this will be fun," you know?
I need schematics.
Yeah.
Which parts do you want burnt? Like,
Do you want this to explode? Oh, I can make that explode. Or
oh my God.
yeah.
So yeah, credits roll.
Beautiful song.
Beautiful song. And then
Beautiful song with, I will point out, there's a Nuts and Bolts reference in it.
mm-hmm.
It's pretty funny.
And so then we get our obligatory end credit scene, which is a jungle kind of area with a big tree, and the fandom is calling it Neverland.
It's got some weird, like, multicolor, like, this is clearly like some kind of weird spirit tree, Yggdrasil looking, I don't know what, but it's not a normal tree.
And Crescent Rose is there on the beach.
Yes, implying that the rest of our RWBY crew are stranded here too. Also, giant seashells. I just want to.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
got some big snails in this jungle.
I also wanted to point out just a nice little sound touch put in by the sound team. So the end of volume 8 is sound wise is all of this flooding water crashing in and flooding Atlas and Mantle, and then the water rises above the camera and it puts us into this underwater ambient sound kind of thing. And the end credit scene starts with this underwater ambience kind of thing, and then we hear it rise above the surface on to the like above the water, and then that's when we get the rest of the jungle and the thing comes up. So it was like it was like a rise from the ashes kind of thing that I thought was really cool.
Like we're on the other side of
something
now. Yeah. That I noticed that too. That's really well done.
Yeah. So yeah, and that brings RWBY Volume 8 to a close.
Is this where I get to complain about the runtime now?
Okay, you
This
he's been waiting for this.
I have, because normally when a season of RWBY ends, we get an extra long episode. It's become an expectation. It's existed ever since the show started, so far as I can remember. This episode was extra long for the credits. There was not a lot of extra, like, stuff happening in this episode. It was actually just mostly a normal length episode with extra long credits and a short end credit scene attached.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this though, Ian.
Hit me.
Did you feel like with the pacing and everything that happened in this episode, did you feel like it needed to be longer?
I could that's my general complaint, that's the whole show. But for this episode specifically, I was I was waiting for like the last chew, like the final thing to happen for the season, the flooding of Alex. Like, okay, well they're destroying the city, but there's got to be more to it, right? We've got 4 or 5 minutes left in the episode. It's got to be something. And on the first watch through, it's like, all right, well, credit scene, credits, credits. Got to the
Well,
very back of the episode, like, oh, we're right there at the end credit scene, and done. It just did not sit right with me. It's like I missed a beat there somewhere. It just
well,
I thought I was
I
looking
would.
for something just a little bit more out of that runtime before the end of the season because it was an extra long episode.
You were looking for something more, but could you say what it is that you wanted?
I don't know. I
Because honestly, I feel like I want more is a pretty good complaint.
I I mean I want more. Like that's just my general complaint. Any specifics? I mean, the specific death of Ironwood confirmed. If they were going to show that at all, they could have completed the death of Watts if they were going to go with that. There were,
I mean,
or
I don't feel
perhaps
like those things were necessary.
not
I feel like they
necessarily
really.
necessary, but it was just those extra minutes and them being used for the credit scene instead of extra runtime for the show. Just kind of, it didn't feel like I was tricked, but that I had missed expectations about
I mean,
Yeah,
what I had
I guess
expected
I
it to be
always,
like.
so I mean, there's a couple things. I always assume that the credits are going to be 4 or 5 minutes, for the end of a RWBY season,
Yeah.
and I
I like
always
it.
assume that there's going to be absolutely nothing after the credits other than, a very
Very
brief
short
credits,
teaser.
and credit scene.
Which this
Um,
one definitely needed. Like, I
Yes.
was definitely. This wasn't one of those seasons where it was like. Because I think. Have we had a season or two where there wasn't an end
No,
credit scene? I
every
feel
single
like.
season of RWBY has always had an end credit scene.
They've
Okay.
taken from the MCU in that way.
Yeah.
But, this was like, okay, we have to have some, like. Our whole cast isn't dead, right? That isn't. It's not
Yeah,
like
they-
rocks
Yeah.
fall, everybody dies. For real this time,
Yeah.
right? Like.
They do have to confirm
We
that
need
straight
something. So I was expecting an end credit scene. I want to say they're usually like the end episodes. Maybe they're a little bit longer, but a significant portion of that is usually just the credits, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
up. I guess so. It was just I was harkening back to maybe my volume 3 esque expectation. We got that really long last episode for the final episode of that season and a couple others. Just I feel like I was
Yeah.
not necessarily paying attention in that moment, but that set an
Well,
expectation of I was waiting for something that just didn't come.
yeah, and oh, we've got people saying Volume 7 didn't have an end credit scene.
Well,
I
would
guess
you
that's
look at
right.
that?
Damn, Brian.
I forgot.
You're wrong.
I forgot.
Get on it, Brian. You're not a real fan.
Um, that's right. Yeah, Carrie didn't want to put that. I remember them talking about that. So but yeah, so I guess the bottom line for me is the way that they've done the show in the past has been different, right? Where they would write a script and however long it was, that's really that's kind of what they had to deal with. I mean, there was definitely some restrictions because every minute of animation is more money going out the door, but I think earlier on they had more freedom to kind of do a bit more weirdness with the runtime, especially because earlier on the runtimes were generally shorter as well.
Yeah.
And this season in particular, we've gotten very consistent runtimes at about 18, 19 minutes. And honestly, I think that's probably a good thing because the way that this stuff gets budgeted out is you have a certain you get granted when you get greenlit a certain amount of runtime, right? And they or greenlit for a certain number of episodes, with the episodes generally being okay, this is how long each of these episodes are, because if you have a 10-minute episode, a 10-minute episode is going to be a lot more expensive than a 20-minute or a lot less expensive, than a 20-minute episode. So for budgeting purposes, it makes sense to try to keep everything more consistent with runtime. And we know that this season is going to be longer than the next season because they got greenlit for 3 seasons all in a row, and they pulled some episodes from the last season and put them into this one because they got greenlit for a certain amount of runtime. Also probably because it's just gonna take less episodes to get through the arc next season.
Probably.
But yeah, so overall, I know that runtime is something that we've complained about a lot before on this podcast. And the main reason for the complaint about runtime was that we were feeling like things were getting missed, things were getting rushed, and certain moments were falling flat as a result of certain things having to be rushed. And we were saying, if there were a couple more minutes per episode, then they might be able to fit in a little bit more stuff and things wouldn't be as rushed. So that was our main argument.
Yeah.
This season, I feel like they've really gotten very consistent with the runtime, and I feel like they've gotten a lot better at pacing things out within the runtime that they have.
I agree on all those
So
points.
I think this is probably the best paced season that we've had.
I would agree. Runtime, which I know it's been a common complaint for us, I gotta say, runtime is not one of my complaints this season.
I can definitely see where you come down on that. I can definitely appreciate improvement because I know that we complain about things that we say we'd like changes in these areas. Credit where credit is due because I know I'm one of those nitpickers at times. Holy crap, RT. This show has come so far from Volume 1, Episode 1 or
Oh
that
my god.
or that trailer
Like 6-minute episodes.
Yeah.
or the trailers we would get when RWBY was just this mysterious concept we knew nothing about. It is so much bigger and better than it was. And the reason why I nitpick is I just want it to continue to be better. Not because I hate the show, because if I hated the show I wouldn't be here. But it's I forget sometimes that I forget to say the pauses, but for anybody who Rooster Teeth who happens to watch this now or in the future, I swear to God, don't stop, please.
Yeah, I like, and that's actually something that I wanted to hit on too, because ever since the finale came out on Saturday, I've seen a lot of hate on Twitter, and a lot of people complaining about this or that. I think, some of those complaints are valid, but I've also seen a lot of people just being flat out nasty and
That's
mean.
Twitter for you. You just see them.
But I mean, the thing is I've been seeing a lot of the people who work on the show responding to that, and kind of fighting back a little bit on some of the anger on Twitter, and going, hey, well, why do you guys need to do this and stuff, and like we were saying earlier, this podcast has always been an analysis podcast. We love talking about things that we enjoy, but we also like to be analytical about it and critique it and, give our honest opinions. And we've never shied away from, even with this show that we enjoy, talking about things that we didn't think were very good or things that could have been better. But one of the things that we've always strived to do with this podcast, whenever we're giving our critique, whenever we're talking about things that we didn't like, is we've always strived to do it with tact and be respectful to the creators. Because here's the truth, guys, and I feel like a lot of people online forget this. What the guys at RT are doing with this show is fucking hard. It's really, really hard to make a show like this. There are so many moving parts with these kinds of big productions. And, and especially what they were able to accomplish this year with doing what is by far their largest volume to date during a pandemic and also dealing with the snowpocalypse in Texas and still having to get everything done and get it done at the quality level that they did. That is hats off. An amazing job. Absolutely amazing job. So, do I think, as far as my own personal thoughts on this volume, do I think that this volume was perfect? No, of course not. There's still room for improvement. However, I've been seeing a lot of people from RT online talking about how proud they are of this volume, and I think that they have every right to be proud of this volume. I think that they should be proud of this volume. I think that this, I don't know if it's my top volume, but I think that it is definitely one of the best volumes of RWBY to date, without a doubt. It's had some of my all-time favorite moments in the show, period. And overall, yeah, I'm looking forward to Volume 9, and I hope that things continue to just keep moving forward and continue to improve, and things just get better and better. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So all that is to say, RWBY with a C, great job. And for everybody else out there, if you've got critiques, sure, but be nice. Be nice.
Yeah.
These are all really hardworking, creative people who are doing their absolute best.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we can ever ask for.
Yeah. And if you ever have like a grievance about a show and you want to like find a space to complain, sure, but never make it personal. Or I mean, this stuff is obvious to some people, but there are people that might be listening that, if we can spread the message even further, it might seem obvious to 99% of you, but don't personally attack people that work on a show on Twitter. That goes for voice actors, that goes for, fucking production people. Like, they're just trying to create this awesome thing, and if you don't like something, cool, but like, never do personal attacks or anything like that online. Or honestly, if you don't like it, don't even tweet at the like actor like, I don't like your performance. Like yeah, be constructive, not destructive. Like, because your opinion of them is none of their business. And honestly, if you want to talk about like, oh man, I didn't like this or I didn't like this, find a space to do that, and do it in a constructive, positive way. Because especially if you're trying to like, you know, exist in a community where, you want to make things better, if the goal is for things to be better, you're not going to do that by being an asshole.
Oh,
Yeah,
exactly.
sorry. This
No, you're
particular
not.
part of the internet is not a vent for you.
Yeah, it's so yeah. Just and I know, look, I know there's probably some people are gonna say, "Oh, Brian, that's real rich coming from you with all the shit that you said about SAL." I'm aware. I'm aware. I mean, I can defend myself all I want in saying that was for entertainment purposes only. That was never meant to be a legitimate critique of SAO. But
hey guys, I have a hot take.
That's fair.
RWBY is not SAO. That's my hot take.
What? Blasphemy!
What? We haven't been watching SAO this whole time? My mind.
We have to burn the unbeliever.
Yeah.
We have to turn into a bird.
But yeah. So anyways, yeah. If you've got critiques, if you've got complaints, that's fine. Just don't, there's no reason, like, my best example that I can give is back very, very early on when I was first learning audio, I did some live sound things. And one of the most annoying situations that happened was somebody would come up to the front of house booth, where we're doing all the mixing for the live show. And they would come up and they'd go, "Yeah, I don't like how it sounds." And you'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. What don't you like about it? We have the power. Maybe we can do something about it." And they go, "I don't know. I just don't like it." It's like, cool, that helps us a lot.
Very useful.
So, your comments on Twitter of this show is bullshit, this show sucks, that doesn't do anybody any good. That's not like, if you think that that's a critique that's like, oh, maybe if I say this, the creators will see it and it'll be better. They can't take anything from a comment like that. So it's just not worth it.
Yeah, and another thing to like keep in mind, especially in this world we live in today, where people that make the awesome things that we love are so accessible to us. Like, if you want to go on the internet somewhere random and shout into the void, honestly, I'd rather you do that. Just don't at them on Twitter. Never try to contact them to tell them, hey, fuck you. Like, like there's no point. Your opinion of them is none of their business. Unless if you have something nice to say, sure. But like if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all to these strangers on the internet that you don't know. Like no, unless they're doing something that's actively like harming others, then like if you don't like their TV show, fuck off. Like
It's none of your business.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah, like it's none of their business what your opinion of them is. And that just goes for like that's a piece of life advice in general. You know, if you ever find yourself in a situation where someone that you don't know is coming and questioning your character or coming and just being an asshole to you, that's on them. Like,
I
you
love,
know,
Yeah.
Okay.
I love
ugh,
what James Bailey says here. It says, to quote Monty, because when
Morty.
you're an asshole, if it doesn't matter how right you are, nobody wants to give you the satisfaction. That's so true. If you're a
true.
dick, nobody's gonna want to listen to your critique.
All right.
True.
I do
Yep.
appreciate that we all agree on this, but this is also our second revolution around this particular topic.
Yes. So, anyways, yeah. So that's the bottom line. I just wanted to say that. Huge shout out to RWBY with a C. You guys are doing awesome. Keep up the great work.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And yeah, so I guess overall now thoughts on Volume 8 as a whole?
I love it.
It's another step forward. I need them to keep taking those steps. Like we're all human, we're all fallible people, and you know I understand that as much as they step forward and I think about what they could be and they don't quite hit what they want for me, I always do remember they do get closer. And this season was no different. Um, we had all these funny things with Nora pushing the button on Weiss and setting her up the boom tube. We
I
had
forgot about that.
yes. The drama between Ren and Nora, Jean trying to be more than just himself, and all of our characters trying to push themselves in ways that they haven't done before against insurmountable odds, while the military is using World War I trench warfare tactics against Grimm, who are coming in hordes. It's a beautiful thing, and I think I pray it's only uphill from here because that's what it's been like most of the way.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say the season was really good. Could use more dragons. Personal opinion.
Yeah, where's my fucking dragon,
Always more
Marty?
dragons.
Always more dragons.
Where are dragons? 0 out of 10.
See,
Everyone,
they
tweet
could
right now
replace-
at RWBY. Like,
They could replace every character with a dragon of that character, and it would still not be enough dragons for me.
all right, guys, here's your homework. Everyone needs to draw the RWBY girls as dragons.
Ha! Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Please add Hubbard Audio with your fan art.
At Hubbard Audio.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute,
What have we
I
done?
got a better idea. Please add what you believe the RWBY Talk podcast looked like as a dragon and send that to add Hubbard Audio.
Oh my god.
There you go. There's your homework.
Oh dear.
Uh,
But yeah, I for seriously though, I think I feel like this season, if I had one critique, I would say that I feel like they put a de-emphasis a bit on the sort of the combat scenes. There were fewer of them this season, and they were really good, but they didn't quite have that pop from like some of the earlier seasons. But man, oh man, they've done so much work with pacing, which was a pretty big issue, a couple of seasons ago. Like
pretty big issue even in Volume 7, I think.
I mean, pacing is one of the hardest things I think to do in Like,
Mhm.
especially in big production stuff, it's hard.
Yeah.
Pacing is really, really hard. So they've done a great job on that. They've done a great job, like, actually developing characters this season, giving us an emotional connection to characters, making us feel things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, worlds different in a lot of ways. So, you know,
Yeah.
while I'm sad to see fewer fight scenes, if that means we get to have more of an emotional connection to our characters, maybe that's a fair trade.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with everything that you guys have said. Yeah, I think there's this was overall, I think, one of the best seasons of the show thus far. And yeah, I really just I want to see them continue to keep up in the ante and continue to make things even better. Um, and so yeah, and while we've definitely gone through plenty of our critiques over the course of doing this podcast for this season, um, you know, I still overall enjoyed the season from beginning to end. And as I was saying earlier, that's the point of entertainment. That's the
Mhm.
point of entertainment. If at the end of the day you had a good time, then that's really all that matters. There might be, the reason for critique is ways to make it more entertaining and heighten the entertainment. But as long as it was entertaining, then it's doing something right. And I think it definitely did that. So, yeah,
Well, that's
I,
our
th-
Yeah.
thoughts.
I
What
think
about?
that's it, guys.
Don't we have predictions? Does anybody have a prediction? Do we talk about
I
them
mean,
enough for one
kind of
day?
we've kind of talked about it a little bit because we had a huge talk about the
I guess.
Neverland in the middle. But I mean, I guess I think that we're gonna spend some time in Vacuo. I think we're gonna see Sun and Neptune again. I think we're gonna see Team Coffee. I think that there's a very good likelihood that Team RWBY is gonna wind up teaming up with Neo to take down Cinder. I think Raven is probably gonna be the person who gets them out of Neverland. Those are all my predictions, really.
Rocks fall, everyone dies, as usual. But in all seriousness, folks, Jean needs a new weapon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's got two
Is-
dead girls in that weapon now.
Oh my god!
Oh my
Ugh.
god!
That's a
my
way to
God.
put it.
Yes!
Oof.
Oh, no
I think
chill.
this is what John's gonna realize. The more dead girls in his weapon, the more powerful he becomes.
Oh my god!
Jesus.
Fuck.
Whew.
No, in all seriousness, Jean, it's time for you to get your own fucking weapon. If you're gonna get a new sword and board, it's none of your grandfather's refurbished bullshit. It's yours.
Yeah. Well, see, I was thinking we were losing weapons left and right this episode. We lost, Blake lost her weapon, RWBY lost her weapon. But a lot of those, as we saw with Ruby's scythe, just sitting there on the beach. They're fine. They're just they're scattered to the
Are
jungle
they?
maybe somewhere. But
Well,
Yep.
they might be there. We at least see Crescent Rose on the beach, looking at that.
I mean,
picture.
I would. It all leads to the same place. So.
Yeah, but are they gonna be able to find it though?
Oh, probably.
yeah, I mean probably.
Yeah.
If Ironwood can stumble out of a cell because a wire broke, I feel like they'll be able to find their weapons. But
I
Jean's
want them to
is
replace
broken.
their weapons though. I want to see them get like an entire weapon replacement, just full stop, new weapons. Like, of course, it's gonna be like the similar design aesthetic. Like, it's still gonna be a sniper scythe for RWBY with Crescent Rose, but it's gonna look different. It may have an extra feature or two, something with a little edge. Just the scythes are the only thing that really haven't changed.
We may still get it. We'll see. We'll see.
Man, guys, it's been a journey.
It has been a journey.
Ugh.
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching. It's been quite the time. We are now gonna go on a bit of a hiatus. We will let you know when we come back. But yeah, and until then, you can find me at Hubbard Audio at Twitter. On Twitter, I'm also at Hubbard Audio in our in our public Discord server. Ian, where can they find you?
In the public Discord server under the name of Venthris, Venthris, as an admin, making sure that the server doesn't spontaneously combust.
Forrest, where can they find you?
uh, well, I'll be here again when we come back from hiatus to talk about some more stuff. So,
Hell yeah. Katie, where can they find you?
Hell yeah! Hi everybody. You can find me on Twitter at Connie Day Official, KANIDAY Official. I do voice acty things and I share a lot of memes and I love talking about anime and RWBY and I've loved being on this podcast and I hope that you guys will continue to follow us here at RWBY for any updates.
Indeed. Thank you guys so much. It's been such a fun time getting to entertain you guys and talk about this shit. Because we love RWBY, and we know you love RWBY, and yeah. Thank you guys so much. We will see you all later. Bye!
bye bye.